So, picture this. You're playing a game that's well over 10 years old, and you're really enjoying yourself in the game. But you just run into something that makes you realize that this is an old game. Whether it's something archaic, the graphics haven't aged well, the game sounds horrible, or some other third thing, it makes you realize how games have developed over time. And I think this issue is really most prevalent with games on the NES.
Now, for anyone who doesn't know, the NES was one of the pioneers of the gaming scene. After the crash of 1983, when the market was completely oversaturated with poor quality games, and people didn't really have a way to know what games were good and bad, Nintendo basically came in and said, "Hey, dumbasses, this is how it's supposed to be done," by introducing things like the Nintendo Seal of Approval, so people would know that Nintendo approved these games. Now, while Nintendo was a pioneer in the gaming scene, I never really understood a lot of the NES hype, both as a kid and as a young adult today. How some of these games were said to be the greatest of all time, and games of today couldn't compare. Meanwhile, most of the games looked like...
Now, I'm not gonna say that every game on the NES was bad. It started some of the greatest series that we've ever seen. Mario, Zelda, Metroid, Mega Man, Castlevania. But these games have a lot of things that aren't prevalent in games today, which I would argue are necessities.
A saving and continuing system. Why the hell did most of these games not have saves and continues? Alright, maybe I can answer that. Before games were played at home, they were played at arcades. They were simple, high-score based games that encouraged playing a quick round to get a high score, so you could brag to your friends about how you're better at Galaga than them.
Yeah, that'll show them how cool you are.
But when home video games started becoming popular, people and developers cared more about the adventure. It wasn't about getting a high score in the game to show off to your friends. It was about the adventure. Instead of a game just randomly ending when you have an integer overflow and the game just gives up. A game had a proper ending. You could go start Legend of Zelda and the game has a proper end. That's something Pac-Man doesn't have. But some companies just had to fuck it up. A lot of games had a life system, which was kind of a flawed system and a holdover from the arcades. When you'd lose all your lives, the game is over and you'd have to start over. Now, not every game had a live system. Like I said, Legend of Zelda, that does not have a live system. But for most games on the NES, it was you lose all your lives, you'll have to start the whole game over again. Hell, even Super Mario Bros. Has this problem, sorta. You lose all your lives, you go right back to 1-1. Oh, you spent 2 hours trying to get to Bowser? You died? You lost all your lives? Fuck you. Okay, and I know some of you will say, "But Nick, there is a continued code in Super Mario Bros. You just hold A and start." And I'll say, huh? Why is that a secret in the game? Most games don't even have a continue code like that. Matter of fact, I asked one of my friends to look over the script for me while I was writing this, and he told me that he didn't even know that Mario Bros. Had a continue code like that. Which maybe goes to show you that a continuing code shouldn't be a thing at all, it should just be a given. And look, I get it. A battery save was expensive at the time, but shouldn't a password be able to let you continue the game? Wouldn't the developers think, let's have a way to continue the game, so you could pick it up for another day? But no, I guess the devs just wanted you to keep the console on forever. Don't kick it. That's why I never had a problem with save states, really just allowing you to do what the developers didn't think of, or didn't want you to do. But that's really opening another argument on emulation. Another can of worms I don't have the time to talk about today. But maybe next time. So, saving and continuing is one thing. But Jesus Christ, did developers really think kids would be able to beat these games? I mean, holy crap. Well, in all honesty, probably not. So parents would have to go buy another rental so the kids could beat the game, while also having them pay for a gaming magazine like Nintendo Power or Electronic Gaming Monthly, to give them the latest, tips and tricks on the game, aka the magazine telling you what the game didn't want to. I mean, some games are so cryptic and confusing, I'll have to break out old Google to tell me what to do because the game certainly isn't telling me what to do. But let's stop talking negatively for a moment. The NES brought some of the greatest series that we've seen, with some still going on today. And while I don't think every game was perfect, in fact I think most of the games were pretty terrible, the NES later brought the SNES, which refined 2D gaming, and I think a lot of those games hold up just as well today as they did back then.
But maybe I'm the crazy one. Maybe a lot of other people think that NES games are perfect and it was one of the best consoles of all time. Let me know what you guys think down below. I mean, it's not like other Nintendo consoles had the exact same problems as the NES. Ah, shit.